we're going to watch this in full speed. On the left is Mason at 17. On the right is Mason at 15. And we're going to watch the difference. One of the first things that you're going to see, and I always like to watch video, I like to watch it in full speed just so I get a sense for the rhythm, the timing, the tempo. Very rarely, except in the early teaching stage, will I ever go frame by frame by frame, simply because I don't want my guys associating positions with good or bad mechanics. It's just, that's not what mechanics is really about. It's about movement, and because you move really well, you're going to reach these positions, or you're not going to reach these positions. But simply striving for a position reached is the wrong way to go, and it's why so many pitchers become overthinkers, and they simply just get locked up. Because you got to realize the antithesis, the opposite of momentum, is going to be conscious thought. Anytime I'm having to think about anything, well, then obviously momentum is going to be killed abruptly right there. And that's what I like about the core velocity belt, is simply because it allows me to keep my goal external while providing the internal feedback of feel. I don't have to think about it. So whenever we watch Mason, I'm going to go through this. You're going to notice, watch the hips. And when I say watch the hips, what I'm talking about is it landing. Watch the path of the hips. It's going to work like this. And you're going to see him finish squared position. Now, you got to realize that you don't ever want to finish we don't teach in fielding position. That's the quickest way to kill hip rotation, and simply because you got to think about it, most bunt situations which you're required to field your position, you should have a pretty good sense of when that's going to happen. So you're going to see he starts to vault the hips, is what I call it, where he goes straight over. And what you got to realize too is that whatever the range of motion the hips allow is, or whatever range of motion that you're able to get through with the hips, that's the only range of motion the shoulders will have to play with. So the greater the range of motion with the hips, the greater range of motion with the shoulders. So now on the left, and you're going to notice, watch his momentum. Where does his momentum take him? You see it takes him to his glove side. You're going to see that with mostly all hard throwers, simply because think about his arm path, how his arm path goes. Watch his arm. Now, if I'm connecting my energy, I would want my hips to follow in the same path. Basically, what's happening is actually the opposite, because the momentum of the hips, the rotation of the hips, allow the shoulders to turn, allow the shoulders to rotate, which in turn connects the momentum from the lower half to the upper half. So you can see, watch the path of the hips here, how they're going in what we call a corkscrew. It's backside dominant. It's driven from the backside. So his hips will actually move. So as they go, they'll start to turn that way, versus what we were seeing earlier with terrible circle is what we were seeing earlier was this right here. It was just going to be there. There wasn't that corkscrew, that turn there. You see how he shows his glute, his butt, and his momentum goes that way, versus what you're going to see right there where everything stops. So there's going to be the biggest difference as far as how he was able to make the velocity gains. Two, he was doing what a lot of guys can't do, and that's just being able to move efficiently through the hips, because he has such keen awareness. Mason spends a lot of time with the mobility exercises, with the breathing, everything that goes into actually producing efficient movement, and he's put in the time, and that's why Mason was ranked as one of the top high school pitchers in the country last year, and will do great things at Vanderbilt. But just a guy to watch, and again, let's watch it one more time, and you're going to see the difference in the patterns.